Sam, we are just hearing from authorities the names of the 10 people who were killed in that stabbing rampage on Sunday. Take us through the list in detail, whatever we have to this point.
So these names and the photos that we're about to show you were released, let's be clear, by RCMP, the Saskatchewan Coroners Service, and the families of the people who died. And so we'll run through them right now. Also, RCMP says that all the families know. This has been cleared by the families. They are aware that these photos are going out to the media. The first person we're going to talk about is 23-year-old Thomas Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 46-year-old Karen Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 28-year-old Gregory Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 61-year-old Lydia Gloria Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 48-year-old Bonnie Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 66-year-old Earl Burns of James Smith Cree Nation, 49-year-old Lana Head of James Smith Cree Nation, 54-year-old Christian Head of James Smith Cree Nation, 49-year-old Robert Sanderson of James Smith Cree Nation, and 78-year-old Wesley Peterson of Weldon, Saskatchewan. Now, those are the names, ages, and the photos you just saw there of the people who died in that horrific stabbing, mass killing that happened on Sunday. That started in James Smith Cree Nation, which is about 3 hours north of Regina. And then one person we heard as well died in Weldon, Saskatchewan, which is a nearby community there as well. RCMP say that they are releasing these names and photos because the families have asked for privacy. Now, as reporters, we want to be able to share the stories of the people who died and help Canadians know who they were and a little bit about them. So we have reached out to families, and so RCMP say this is so that these families can have some privacy. They're going to release these photos, and so that Canadians can know who their loved ones were, know who these people were to them. RCMP also say they will not be releasing the names of the people who were injured, because remember, 10 people were killed, but at least 18 were injured. And so they were not going to give those names. RCMP say they can confirm one young teen was injured and the rest are adults. They will not be giving ages, and they say injured victims include both women and men, so people from different genders as well. Again, those photos and names and ages have all been cleared by the families, Heather. And so this gives us a scope, faces, names of who the people who died in this horrific tragedy.
Just a couple of things. I have another question, but a couple of things. The Saskatchewan Health Authority saying there are 10 people, you mentioned the injured, 10 still in hospital, 3 critical, 7 stable at this point. I don't know if police are saying anything, Sam, on this, and if we don't know yet, that's just fine, but so many of the people listed here who died in James Smith Cree Nation have the last name Burns. Is that a family, a common family name? Do we know if they are related as family members, or is that detail still to come?
It's still to come, Heather. It's a good question. So RCMP say they will not be telling reporters at this time if they're all related or how they're all related, if that is the case. You'll also note one of the people who died has the same last name as the accused, Miles Sanderson, who is the man still out that police are looking for. Again, they're not going to clarify the identities any further than they have today. At this time.
But we do know we'll be hearing from some of the family members later today, and I'll have some details on that ahead. What do we know at this point, Sam, on day 4 of the manhunt? How is the investigation going? How is the search going for Miles Sanderson?
So, yes, day 4. Essentially, police say he could be anywhere in Saskatchewan. Originally, Regina Police and RCMP here in the province said that he was here in Regina, potentially. The reason they thought that is because they had tips that there was a black Nissan Rogue that Miles Sanderson, at the time they thought Damian Sanderson as well, was traveling in. Turns out Damian Sanderson's body, those two are brothers, was found on James Smith Cree Nation. So a couple of questions here. One, that tip about the car here in Regina on Sunday, that is old now. And so at this point, Regina Police and RCMP say he could be anywhere. They're still looking at Regina, but he could be anywhere in Saskatchewan. Two, where is that car right now, the black Nissan Rogue? RCMP say that Miles Sanderson may have ditched it and picked up another vehicle, so he, again, could be anywhere. And three, police believe there were two people in that vehicle. They don't know who the other person may have been. So again, RCMP urge, if you know anything about where Miles Sanderson is or was, call police. Heather?